and Tillman to 12.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Sunday morning. I'm Seth Merrow, joined this morning by Mike Callahan. Good morning, Mike.
What's going on, Seth? How you doing?
Very good. Happy to have you on board and happy to have our sponsorship from Gulfstream Park. Gulfstream Park, champions start here. I want to thank them for their sponsorship of this program, some of the other programming and events here on the network. And Mike, speaking of Gulfstream, I want to remind folks, we'll be down there live from Gulfstream Park.
And after this morning, you didn't order the snow this morning, did you? I left my apartment and it was flurrying.
Yeah,
and
the
I
more
was like,
snow,
"What
the
is
better."
this? What is this? I know, exactly. I mean, you have the your eyes in sight of glory down there. You're going to be living in the high life down there. So
head out on Wednesday. Game plan is Thursday. Pop over to Palm Meadows and swing by the track on Thursday afternoon, tape some interviews, and so Friday and Saturday morning we'll have a handicappers report with Brian Nadeau and Racing Across America. After that, both Friday and Saturday morning, some taped interviews. We'll have some people come sit in with us live. It should be fun. The third year down there at the Florida Day.
Oh, it's been fantastic. It's going to be, the lineup looks to be terrific. Obviously, you got to see if Audible can, validate that performance last time out. Still some questions to figure out in here. We answered some yesterday. There's still a couple more to go.
I think we raised more questions.
I know. We answered some with Noble Indy because the blinker's going on. We'll talk about that when we get to it. But my boy Jack, I don't know, positive, negative. I'm interested to see what you have to say when we get to the race.
And our friend Roddy Valenti will have Coach Rocks, hopefully.
She was fantastic last time out. If you haven't got a chance to see Coach Rocks, take a look at her last race. She was phenomenal.
And hopefully next week we'll have Roddy sit in with us and maybe a little conversation with Dale as well. Dale Romans trains. Roddy co-owns with Coach Patino.
Yeah.
Hence the Coach Rocks.
Yes.
Name.
Perfect scenario, and hopefully she does very well.
Yeah,
we'll be rooting for him.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. Also, want to remind you a few days left to cash your tickets. Don't forget, if you have 2017 tickets that are uncashed, get them through the windows before March 31st so you get your money. You don't want to leave any money on the table. So by all means, cash your tickets before March 31st. Let's touch on last Friday. You had the bankroll, and I was kind of watching during the days.
I know, because you came in and,
you had a pick four that was, I know the feeling.
We've done a bunch of them. I've always been behind the scenes, but this was my first one, actually doing it. And normally I'll be truly honest with you. Either if I'm on, I'm on. If I'm off, I'll tell you I'm completely off. I had some bad racing luck in one instance, which was that pick four at Oaklawn, which really would have set the day really well because it was a $400 pick four. And on both ends, I had that horse in the beginning, the 5 horse at Oaklawn.
They had the crazy
that almost fell to the ground, went 5 wide, and still only lost by half a length. I had that horse single finish second. Then on the back end, we're alive for $400. We get
if the horse, the crazy first leg, you would have potentially had it twice.
So I finished second in both spots. One bad racing luck. One I just got grinded down by half a length. But then I finished first and third in a couple big exactas. Still had $200. So we were able to give $7 away to 30 patrons. But again, it's kind of sets the day, and then from there you can kind of be more aggressive. I really liked Uncle Si later on, who I told you about. I put 25 to 1 on him. If I would have hit that pick four, I would have put 75 or maybe $100 on the horse, and then it really would have, So there's untapped money, that could have happened if we get it. But you live to fight another day. It happens. Everybody hears those stories. So
everybody got a little dough, and I always say it's just got to be your day. I mean, I kind of compare it to handicapping contests. it's got to be your day. You got to walk in, and if you win one of those contests, you just have to be on that day. And some days you're on, some days you're not. And some days, like you're a little bit in the zone for both directions. And again, everybody walked away with a little bit of money. It's always fun.
Yeah, it is good. It was good to finally be able to do one. Obviously, I know everybody here at the Clubhouse Racebook from my tenure here at the Clubhouse.
You were kind of worried that you would be heckled during the afternoon.
They started to, because they were like, "Oh, Mikey has it," and they're like, "Well, we're going to give it to you if you don't do well." So I was like, "All right, no pressure here."
Very good. All right, let's jump in a little bit later on. Big day down at Sunland today with the Sunland Derby. It's a Kentucky Derby points race, and they wound up with a really nice field of horses from name folks. You have Todd Pletcher out there, and some other folks we are familiar with.
Got a couple of horses out there. He's
Dale,
been terrific out there.
our
Dale's
friends
got
at
a
West
horse.
Point
Yes.
with 7 Trumpets. So we'll root for
Richard
that one.
Mandela sending one down that I like, and I'll talk about a little bit later on. But very, very good field.
Nice stakes card as well. We'll talk to Tom Dawson a little bit later on from Sunland and get some of his thoughts on the action at Sunland for today. But we wanted to go back to yesterday to kick the show off and take a little look at some of the stakes action from yesterday. Mike, you alluded to it a couple minutes ago. The highlight yesterday, of course, was the Louisiana Derby. Another week or so left of the Fairgrounds meet. We talked with Joe Christofek yesterday. And they'll wrap things up next Saturday because, of course, next Sunday is Easter, so they won't run then. But about a week left. We are watching Noble Indy here. This was a strange race.
That is exactly what I was going to say.
Strange stretch run because I like Noble Indy, and at the top of the stretch I thought, well, he's done.
Yeah.
And
best
my
third.
boy
At
Jack
best
on
third.
the outside, you're thinking is going to blow right by
He was
him.
coming like a freight train, and then he kind of flattens out, and
Noble
Indy somehow re-kicks in. I mean, Todd Pletcher is a master at equipment changes, and the blinkers going on for this horse was absolutely the right move. I alluded to it on the stakes preview. Sully and I were both high on the horse. At the top of the stretch, dog, there's no way you can believe that you're going to win. Yeah.
And here you think he's going to get passed by 5 horses.
Yeah, Lone Sailor's in the middle right there and has the lead right now. And then on the far outside is My Boy Jack coming on the outside. And you still think that maybe My Boy Jack's going to be able to grind everybody down here and then sort of flattens out. And then somehow, some way, Noble Indy is able to re-kick in.
Back. It's just amazing.
And that mile time is not the right mile time. So if you're looking at the fractions, don't look at that. The final time is correct, though, 1:15.1.
Noble Indy gets it done as the 5-2 favorite. That was a little bit of a surprise, too, that he went off the favorite. Joe Christofek said yesterday morning he thought it was possible Noble Indy would take some action. I put the horse on top. I had Bravazzo underneath, Snapper Sinclair in the 3rd spot, and My Boy Jack in the 4th spot. The Snapper Sinclair winds up running 5th. The disappointment, though, Bravazzo is the second choice at 5-2.
Bravazzo and Snapper Sinclair. It was,
Eighth
the
in the
Risen
field of
Star
10.
was, could those horses validate that? Obviously not. Really did no running at all. Snapper Sinclair kind of plodded along. Bravazzo was there early on. We didn't get to see the early on part of the race, but then kind of faltered late. I thought My Boy Jack went extremely wide, so it was one of those situations where he covered a lot more ground. Again, he's bred to go the 1.25 miles on Kentucky Derby Day, but the flatten out there kind of leaves you with some questions.
I thought it was okay, because, it was an okay third. But you did think he was going to blow right by. Went wide again. I mean, that Southwest trip, and I asked Keith DeSormo about that. You look down at the chart, 3 wide, 5 wide, 4 wide, except for the Southwest, where Kent made the nice move up the rail and got the win. So, and I said, was that the game plan, or did it just kind of fall into that? And he said, yeah, it kind of fell into that because of the post position, probably.
And a lot of people thought he was just a mud lover because that race was,
and that
on,
was
the,
a question
on the mud
too.
At Oaklawn. So I didn't think it was a bad performance, but I can't really swing either way as far as if it's a positive progression or a negative. So.
And I'm guessing, they sit number 12 on the points list now with 32 points. That's probably enough to get them in, you would think. And you would think they'd go off of that.
Absolutely.
They have the win in the Southwest and the 3rd in the Louisiana Derby. I think it's on to the Kentucky Derby, and they'll see if the questions get answered
It's tough to navigate a 20-horse field in the Derby coming from that far back, because there's so many horses.
With a horse that tends to go wide to
exactly, he
begin
just
with.
tends to go wide, and we saw, the last one that I could think of as a Stone Cold Closure was Mind That Bird, and he was able to get that terrific trip Calvin Burrell up the rail.
I was
so-
going to say, unfortunately, he's related to the jockey. Otherwise, I'd reach out to Calvin Burrell up at Southwest,
Yeah.
see if he can get another bow rail
Yeah,
ride.
exactly. But
Maybe make that
again,
work.
it's tough to figure that one out. You answered some questions with some other horses, but the big three, I guess, you still have to figure out what they're going to do going forward.
I will tip my cap. Middle of the afternoon yesterday, I was out in the parlor and got tapped on the shoulder by a patron. Said, "What do you like in the Louisiana Derby?" And I said, "I like the Pletcher horse." And he said, "You know what? Take a little look at that 8. Lone Sailor, kind of interesting, and could be a price." And sure enough, Lone Sailor, a gutsy second, and almost won. I mean, it really wasn't until the last couple of strides that Noble Indy was able to get back up there. So a good call.
And he even started to fight back when he saw Noble Indy re-kick.
Right.
So I thought that was a terrific performance. Probably, besides, obviously besides the winner, he was the one that really came out of this race as looking really good.
And what does he wind up with? He may still be chasing. I'm just seeing quickly where he is on the points. I don't see him here. He obviously wound up with
Yeah, he was-
20. So, or is he? Yeah, he's nominated. I'm looking here. I printed out the updated list. Oh, yeah, okay. No, he had points before. So he's up higher than I was looking. He's at 8, actually, with 42. So he's
Okay.
clearly on his way.
Yeah.
And again, it was a nice performance, albeit in a strangely run stretch run, as I say, because I like Noble Indy, but there was almost no point at that stretch until the last 2 strides where I thought he was going to get there. And as I say, top of the stretch, I thought he was going to wind up 6th.
Yeah.
So it was funny.
He almost looks like he just got, disinterested in the race and then kind of re-kicked in when he saw the other horses. And again, you don't know how to think when what to think of going forward when you see that type of run.
All right, let's go out to the Fairground Oaks, which, speaking of upsets, this was a little bit of an upset, too. Classy Act goes off as the even money favorite off a good second behind Monomoy Girl in the Rachel Alexandra. Wonder Godot ran 3rd that day, but it will be Chocolate Martini getting it done at 13-1. Chocolate Martini for Tommy Amos. Moved into the Amos barn last start off a claim 2 starts back, and Chocolate Martini turns out to be a pretty crafty claim. Picked up the horse for $25,000, won an optional claimer last time, and number 9 Chocolate Martini just holds off the late running Eskimo Kisses here to pick up the Fairground Oaks, a nice grade 2 event worth $400,000. Running 3rd was Wonder Godot. Classy Act winds up 4th in here, but a nice performance again, with a crafty claim, 2 starts
Yeah,
back.
I mean, she obviously moved forward. When you looked at the race going into it, she needed to improve that much to be able to win this race. Disappointing with Classy Act, though.
Yeah.
Kind of really had the race the entire way, the way that she wanted, and really wasn't able to do anything down the stretch. Wonder Godot, that horse I've always been high on, but
Me too.
I think she needs to go back to the turf. We saw her run up at Woodbine. We were actually up there a couple times. And Mark was really high on her. He wanted to get her on the Kentucky Oaks Trail, so he switched her to the dirt and tried her.
And the dirt performances are okay.
They are. They're not bad, but she's just not making progressions
Yeah.
forward. That's the real problem. She's been betting in the last 3 races and hasn't been able to get it done. She still hits the board in all 3 of them, but
It
she's kind of
seemed like
versatile.
they moved to the dirt last year to try the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly and wound up
Yes.
6th there. But they still obviously thought, well, dirt is going to be a nice game plan. So they came back at the end of the year in a Demoiselle, and we were down there. And,
She looked really good winning that.
Looked very good winning that, and subsequently the 2 starts. It may just be a thing also. Here's a question mark to be answered. The last 3 starts have all been at the fairgrounds.
That's true.
And they're okay, but it's a different kind of a surface. It's certainly a different kind of a circumference with that long stretch. So it will be interesting to see what they do with her next. And clearly the potential for them is to go on to the Kentucky Oaks. That probably, you would think, with this group
Would be
the
logical,
game
and then it'll
plan.
be interesting to see what she does there and then where they go from there, because I know Mark's been high on it. I read a bunch of articles saying, she's just one of those horses that needs to be out there roaming free. She's a big filly, but again, the progression's not there right now, and I'm wondering what they're going to do past the Oaks, going from there.
Yeah, again, Chocolate Martini gets it done. Wonder Godot runs 3rd. Eskimo Kisses, Kenny McPeak horse, who broke through last time. We talked about this one with Joe Christofek yesterday, and he said, if I'm remembering right, he was shying a little bit away from this one because the the kind of breakthrough effort last time was on a sloppy track at Oaklawn, and it was just such an aberration. You kind of had to almost assign it to the off track. But now she's put a couple of good efforts together.
Yeah, her
so
Byron number was 18 points higher than anything she'd ever done. So
Yeah.
you automatically think the bounce theory's in play.
Yeah.
But she ran really well. She was, past the wire. She was already past Chocolate Martini. So she's one definitely going forward that's going to be a big player.
Yeah, interesting. That was only her 6th career start yesterday, and it looks like maybe the light bulb switched on a couple of starts back. All right, let's move a little earlier on the Fairgrounds card. The Munoz Memorial, about a mile and an eighth on the grass. I liked Forge, the number 9 horse from Bill Mott off the start last time over at Tampa. Forge goes off at 7-2, winds up a disappointing 7th after having contended early. Synchrony I had right underneath the number 1 horse, and Synchrony does get it done here. Arklow, who is a horse I liked, talked about Arklow with Brad Cox last week. I just thought the numbers are maybe a little bit light with him. As a 4-year-old, he would have to step it up. He did. He's the number 4 horse in here and runs pretty good gutsy 2nd. Zulu 3rd, Mr. Misunderstood 4th, but it was no competition. Chart margin was a length and 3/4. Nobody was getting to Synchrony late. But the notion for me coming out of the race is Arklow's going to be okay. I thought his numbers maybe a little bit light. How is he going to transition to this turf division as a 4-year-old? But I think he'll.
I remember looking at this race when we were doing that stakes preview and saying, race dynamics-wise, no one wanted to go to the lead, so it was going to be, headsy jockey rides were going to have to be the situation because Synchrony is a horse I liked last time, but was a stone cold closer, and Joe Bravo did a terrific job keeping this horse closer to the pace because, again, that was a concern for all the jockeys going into it was if the pace was really dulled down, who was going to be able to come? If someone was going to steal on the lead. But Synchrony loves it down at Fairgrounds, is in really good form right now. Thought that was a terrific performance. Arklow is a hit or miss horse, either all or nothing. The horse loves to win or it's a complete miss. And yesterday was a really good race. Synchrony loves it down there, but I thought Arklow ran a terrific race at big odds. And then Zulu Alpha at even bigger odds. The longest shot on the board was able to hang in there, setting the pace. So that's where, the horses trying to steal it on the front end. They were able to stay there.
91-1.
91-1.
Yeah, nice third.
Rounding out a huge triple of $960 for $1. Hopefully someone had it that's watching right now.
Yeah, that's the game plan, certainly.
That is the game plan.
A little bit earlier, the New Orleans Handicap, which we were kind of alerted to it while we were on the air yesterday with Racing Across America. It was tweeted out. I think Marcus Hirsch from the Daily Racing Forum said Leo Frick was going to be a scratch. We had talked about that one last week with Brad Cox. I had the player on top off of the big effort last time in the mine shaft. Unfortunately, the player number 1 as the 4-5 favorite is pulled up and doesn't finish the race. Talked to Joe Christofek. He thought this was going to be a good seasonal debut spot for Good Samaritan, who was coming off a really close-up second place finish in the Clark last November. So the question mark for me was fitness. I had the horse right underneath. It was going to be no surprise if he won. He did. Number 5, Good Samaritan, gets it done. The chart margin here, 2 1/4 as the 6-5 second choice. And I think this was a pretty good seasonal debut for a horse that will clearly be a player in the handicap division for Bill Mott and WinStar.
When I was watching this race, about mid-stretch, it looked exactly like the Jim Dandy. There was a couple of horses kind of dueling, and you see Good Samaritan going on the outside, but really it was all about the player. The player came into it very dominant off that last win and really had to race the entire way, as far as just having it up front and being able to dictate the fractions and didn't do much running. Good Samaritan kind of does exactly the same thing, kind of goes to the back and runs, goes to the center of the track and tries to run him down. I thought that was a really good performance. Off that long layoff was definitely a concern, like you said. But solid performance. Maybe down the road might be able to give West Coast some threats. That Gunrunner's out of the equation.
Hollywood Handsome runs second for Dallas Stewart. Scuba third. To me, those two are kind of second stringers on the handicap division. They'll probably bounce around and pick their spots and run second or third in those spots, or if they pick the right spot, to catch them a couple of wins during the year.
Yeah, they're a little bit touch below the tops in here, but
Good Samaritan, though, certainly. Good Samaritan wouldn't surprise me. The Whitney, the Woodward, one or the other, or both of those, because it is a Belmont trained horse. So wouldn't shock me if we saw this one up at Saratoga.
Yeah, and we saw him run really
year.
well up at Saratoga,
Yeah.
so that's definitely probably on the target for him.
Yeah. All right, a couple other venues had some races worth maybe taking a little bit of a look at from yesterday. And first up, we'll take a look at the Hutchison from Gulfstream Park, 3-year-old sprinters, kind of a fun subdivision year in and year out. This one a little bit of a head scratcher, though. Obviously, Impact Player, the number 1 from Todd Pletcher, was going to take all the action. Went off as the 8-5 favorite. Impact Player runs 5th in the field of 6. A little bit of a surprise at 9-2. Madison's Luna gets it done, but this may just be an up-and-comer. This was only the 2nd career start, broke the maiden in the career debut over at Tampa. Julian Leperot on board. Number 3, Madison's Luna gets it done. Sutash 2nd, Tricks to Do 3rd. But again, doing this in a decent little field, doing this in only 2nd career start, this may be a nice little 3-year-old sprinter.
Oh, yeah, Madison Luna, terrific effort, but Impact Player was supposed to go to the lead. That's something you didn't see. Obviously, we showed the stretch run and completely missed the break. So then the race kind of, as soon as the gates opened, changed. A couple of the horses got more aggressive when they saw Impact Player not get to the lead, and then Madison Luna just sat right off of it, was able to get the lead at the top of the stretch and open up. Very solid performance. I would completely throw out Impact Player's this race.
Yeah, he sat last virtually the entire
Exactly.
trip.
You got rushed up, then got stopped. So definitely use that horse next time, and it'll be bet again.
All right, and finally, I wanted to look at the Santa Monica, because that one notable because Paradise Woods in here. A filly, now a 4-year-old filly, that has shown real signs of promise throughout the 8 starts of the career leading into yesterday. Because of that, went off as the 4-5 favorite. Paradise Woods is going to be the number 3 horse. You look at the career, though, she wasn't invincible, certainly, and proved that yesterday. Even money on the morning line, went off at 4-5. Paradise Woods, number 3, will finish 4th. But boy, the winner, Selcourt, number 5, gets it done pretty convincingly for John Sadler. This was only the 6th career start, the 4th win. She's a pretty nice-looking 4-year-old filly sprinter herself. Selcourt gets it done in the Santa Monica.
Yeah,
yesterday.
she looks fantastic. The real question mark is, what do you do with Paradise Woods now? Do you think you stretch her back out like they did Unique Bella? That's what I would do. Just the way that she's able to use her tactical speed. She's not able to do that in these sprint races, and I think that's starting to become a little bit of a crutch of hers. But if she's able to do what she did when she goes these 2-turn route distances and just use her speed and be able to get out there, I think you may see that next time out.
Yeah, because if you look at it's kind of a funny set of past performances, but if you look, I suppose you can make the argument that the 2-turn races at the end of last season were 2 of the better races. Certainly the Zenyatta at Santa Anita.
Yeah, she's able to take them wide
you
away
can argue
in
maybe
that.
that was the best race other than that Santa Anita Oaks, but that was also a 1:16. So 1:16 at Santa Anita, clearly right in her wheelhouse. But it was a pretty good try in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. Then they cut her back in the La Brea, a little shorter here. But yeah, you can make the argument
that was the
maybe
first race, the La
out.
Brea. I'm glad you brought that up. That was the first race I actually was able to see her sit off and actually make a kick, kind of closing home. And she still finished second to Unique Bella in that situation, but again, I just think she wants to have the lead, figure it out herself, and then really just put the race in her hands and just let her go. So.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. It'll be interesting to see where they do go next with Paradise Woods. But Selcourt, on the other hand, you would think a confirmed now female sprinter, that subdivision.
Oh, she's very good.
Yeah,
I mean,
she'll
that
be a
time
player.
is no joke either, 121.
All right, there's some of the stakes action from yesterday. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll give you some thoughts for racing on this Sunday afternoon. Stay tuned. Racing Across America continues. We'll see you after this.
It may be cold in the Northeast, but in South Florida, the action's hot. This winter, be part of the championship meet at Gulfstream Park, where the fields are deep and the payouts are big. With some of the most competitive turf racing in America, Gulfstream Park is your winter destination for the finest in championship thoroughbred horse racing. And if you're looking for the top jockeys and best trainers, you'll find them all at Gulfstream Park. So play it today. Gulfstream Park. Champions start here.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices, to know how to connect the dots? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool, but not the only tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. These too are important tools, and you'll find them all right here at Capital OTB. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
How come I get all the credit? Although I like that.
I did
I'm an
bring it
ego.
up.
I got an ego.
Hey, and last time I called you Sully right off the start, so I called you Seth this time, so that's good. We got our names right. It's a little early.
Yeah,
The snow was out, so I was like, uh-oh, I'm going to call
to,
Seth.
now you're living in my world. And typically,
Everybody
I
has
give
the
wrong
same
name to the show.
Everybody has the same name.
All right, we're going to jump in and do a little handicapping for this Sunday afternoon, maybe give you some ideas, hopefully help you cash some tickets for the Sunday programs. We're going to take a look at Gulfstream, a little Sunland, and Aqueduct as well. Michael kicked things off looking at the 9th at Gulfstream today. This is a fun little maiden claimer. There are some first-time starters in here who I think have the potential to be live. Maiden 50 claimers going 6 furlongs. Mike, I'll be interested to see which direction you went.
Exactly right. I like the 2 first-time starters. I have it 2, 1, 7, and 5. Number 2 is My Sister's Keeper. Sired by McLean's Music, and terrific stats from McLean's Music as a sire. 19% with first-time starters. The Dam Alley's Little Sis was stakes placed and won 5 times sprinting. So workouts have been pretty sharp. This horse has been training down at Tampa Bay. You're getting 4-1. You're getting Egger's Eyes, and I think this horse, again, it just fits really well in there. There's no real, top horses in here. So I just think we're going to get a really nice price with the number 2, My Sister's Keeper, like the stats first time out. Underneath, number 1, Perfume Lady, going out for Todd Pletcher, Luis Saez. $140,000 purchase back in 20 of 16. Sired out of Bernardini, 12% with his first time starters. The works have been pretty average. You figure if it's top connections with Luis Saez and Todd Pletcher that this horse would be, if it was any good, would be in a different spot than this maiden claiming 50. So I would shy away on the first start with this horse, but nonetheless, when you take a look at the overall body of work with these others in here, even though this horse hasn't been working that great, it's still going to fit really well in this spot underneath. And then number 7, I have for third. First 2 were okay, stepped up to this level last time out, and even 4th place finish as the favorite, but was bumped at the start. I think third career start could definitely improve. And if you're looking for a long shot in here, number 5, Boca Royalty, going out for Alan Iwinski. 12-1 on the morning line. You get a jockey switch to Nick Juarez, who's been very good. Blinkers go on, and the first start really wasn't that bad and is dropping to this maiden 50. So we'll see what happens, but the 5 at 12-1 will be my long shot plan here. So I saw it 2, 1, 7, and 5.
I had it 1, 2, 5, so I'm right with you.
Yeah,
I think
hopefully great minds think alike.
My Sister's Keeper. I love McLean's Music. Very good with
absolutely
his first time out.
So Seth, you are up next. You have the Aqueduct 9th. It's a state bred maiden 40, going 6.5.
I have an 8, 3, 7, and 6. I put Big Expense on top. Dropped down to this 40 level last time and ran a decent second. Well beaten, but the numbers as compared to this group stack up. The numbers throughout the career do. And again, I think this 40, probably about the comfort zone level for this horse. You know, Master of the Obvious with 9 to 5 on the morning line. But there's a little potential underneath with some value. Devil Buster in the second spot, 6-1 on the morning line. I thought we might get closer to what the horse fired in the career debut. Showed some nice early speed, then faded a little bit late to run second. Showed some speed last time before badly fading. I just think this horse off the claim may have the potential to get back to what we saw in the first career start. We'll find out today what was the aberration, the good try or the bad try. I'm hoping the bad try was the aberration, and Devil Buster will be in the mix. Blue Eyes in the third spot. Nice try last time that maybe says this horse kind of figured it out. Light bulb moment last time, perhaps given the bump up in the buyer figure. That one's 5-2, but 10-1 Princess Rochelle could be a player in the mix. This one also potentially had a little bit of a light bulb moment last time. I think still needs to probably step forward this afternoon, but maybe with that one under the belt and kind of having figured it out, Paco Lopez on board today, we can get a little bit of a move forward from Princess Rochelle. And again, 10-1, won't be shocked if that holds up or maybe even goes up a click or two. Ninth at Aqueduct then, 8, 3, 7, and 6. Mike will take a look at a couple of the stakes from Sunland. We'll be joined by Tom Dawson in a few moments to get some updates on those races as well. Sunland Park Oaks mile and a 16th for the 3-year-old fillies, couple $100,000. And Mike, there's kind of a potential superstar in here. Certainly on the local scene. This horse
and that's the reason I did this race. There's a horse out at Sunland right now searching for 5 in a row, and you have to see her. Her name's Blamed, obviously sired by Blame. 4-5 on the morning line. But this horse has been absolutely terrific. Stretching out to the mile and 16th. This horse loves to go to the lead. Took on Cram last time, who is in this race as well. Was able to really go away from that horse very impressively. Won that race by 6.5. Obviously, this is her race. Use this horse in multi-race wagers. You can use this horse as a single. But underneath, I think the 2 is interesting. It's a Steve Asmussen trainee. You get Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard. 4-1 on the morning line. And this horse last time I was able to win down at Sam Houston in a nice non-winners at 2 lifetime allowance race, and pulled away very impressively in a very solid time of 1:24 and 2 for the 7. Stretches out to the mile and 16th, and if for some reason one of these horses try to go with Blamed, and for some reason she's able to get tired for the first time ever, really. The 2 to me is quite interesting as a player in here, so I like a 4-2 exacta in here. See what happens here if someone goes with a 4. Maybe soften it up for the 2 to get the lead, get the win in here, but we'll see. 4-2, and then underneath, Cram, who finished second last time to Blamed. We'll see if she's able to get a little bit better. She still has to make up 6 lengths, but it's really all Blamed in this spot. Definitely a horse you need to see down at Sunland. All right, Seth, you're on to the Gulfstream 6. It's a $16,000 non-winners or 2 lifetime. They're going to sprint 5 furlongs on the grass.
9, 4, 7, and 8. I put Arpanella on top. Good try last time. I always say these turf sprints are kind of specialties. I look for horses that do it regularly and do it with some amount of success. And this horse has had a couple of turf sprints in the last 2, improving finishing positions in the last couple of starts. I think he's probably set up to run well again this afternoon. In what I think, on the top end at least, is a pretty competitive race. I probably could make a case for another 1 or 2 after my top 4. And as I say, I think they're fairly evenly matched, but I give a little nod to Arpanella off the last couple of starts. Here he's gone gray in the second spot. The race 2 back attracted my attention number-wise. That stacks up really well with this group. Regressed a little bit last time, but I think with a touch of class relief today, we can get a better effort from Harry's Gone Gray. The Bullet Workout on March 11th kind of stuck out to me as well to say this one may be on its toes. Townie in the third spot. Like Harry's Gone Gray, gets some class relief that I think could provide a little bit of a wake-up call. And like the Harry's Gone Gray, 2 races back, ran very, very well as far as comparative numbers to this group. Wildcat Saint scares me. Have it down in the 4th spot. And I may regret that positioning because, again, this is a bona fide turf sprinter, has been knocking around right at this level in the last few starts. But, a couple of seconds bookending a 4th, but certainly has shown that this is clearly the comfort zone, and the numbers are pretty good. So as I say, I may regret putting this one down in the 4th spot, but I thought they were all fairly competitive on that top end. However, I put it in the order of 9, 4, 7, and 8. We'll see how it plays out. The 11th at Sunland today is the Sunland Derby. Boy, this is a nice little race. You might think of it as a second stringer as far as the Derby trail is concerned, but there are Derby points up for grabs. There's also $800,000 up for grabs in this Grade 3. Todd Pletcher is in, Jerry Hollendorfer, Steve Asmussen, Dale Romans. Nice competitive field of 3-year-olds. Mike, what did you see in the Sunland Derby?
I really like the 5 in here, and that's Peace. And we're going to take a look at the last race that this horse ran as I'm talking. And finished 4th in Mackenzie and Bolt d'Oro. And this was a 2-back, tried blinkers, and really didn't do much running. Mike Smith went on to say that the blinkers really didn't work for the horse. Mandela took the blinkers off, and the number 7, he's splitting right there, coming in between horses, is going to come up to Kanthaka. And Kanthaka, if it was in this race, would probably be one of the favorites. Obviously, Mackenzie and Bolt d'Oro up front right there. I thought this was a really good effort. I think the blinkers coming off is exactly what this horse needed. The first couple were really good. This horse finished 2nd in between Marino, who we saw win a stakes down at Oaklawn. We also saw Instilled Regard, who Peace beat Instilled Regard. We saw Instilled Regard go on down to Fairgrounds and win in a stakes race as well. So I think Peace at 12-1 is, I don't think we're going to get 12-1. I think we'll probably get somewhere around 7 or 6-1. I think this horse fits in really well, has a clear class edge on the field. A couple of these are coming in, and like Seth alluded to, it's sort of a second string type race. I think this horse is really sharp. I like seeing Drayden Van Dyke coming over here. Was on the horse last time out, tried to figure this horse out. I think everything, to me, fits really well for this spot, and I really love the price at 12-1, so we'll see if Peace is able to get the job done. Underneath, number 1, All Out Blitz. Off that 3rd place performance to Kanthaka, when Kanthaka won that Grade 2 event at Santa Anita, I thought that was a decent performance. If this horse is able to revert back to that race where it finished 2nd to Mackenzie, getting a 91 buyer, I think this horse is a serious player at 4-1. Workout was really good on March 17th, so we'll see what happens here. Is going to have some speed to navigate with in here, so we'll see if it's a tough trip, but nonetheless, the number 1 All Out Blitz is in here, is a huge player. And then also, Hollywood Star. I cannot figure out this horse. This is the Dale Romans trainee, a big purchase of $550,000. Really was good early on in the career at Churchill Downs in Saratoga, facing the Tabulator. Beat a couple really good horses, but the last 2 really haven't been that great. The works have been dynamite since those last 2. I think Dale Romans still thinks he has some ability in this horse. You're getting 6-1 on the morning line, and I like to see Hollywood Star wake up. You're going to get a very good price today. A very contentious field. I saw it 5-1 and 4.
Peace and All Out Blitz, as I looked at this race yesterday, I thought they were both interesting, essentially for what you're saying as well. They have finished behind Mackenzie and Bolt d'Oro, and it seems like some of the horses who have moved away from Southern California, those 2 horses have done okay. They're 2 of the horses, Mackenzie and Bolt d'Oro, who have validated their talent, whereas others haven't been able to do it. So a horse like My Boy Jack moved away from them and did well in the Southwest. So I'm interested in those 2.
Yeah, and I really like equipment changes too. We saw it with Noble Indy, and this time, Mike Smith was aboard Peace 2 back when the blinkers didn't work out. They took the blinkers off. I thought ran an encouraging 4th to, like you said, 2 of the Derby favorites in here who have already really stamped themselves as serious players. So why not come to this spot? Tricky.
And
you're getting a really good value.
Either one of those runs well. They further flatter Mackenzie and Bolt d'Oro.
Absolutely. All right, Seth, you're going to take a look at the 8th at Gulfstream. It's a $16,000 claimer. They're going to go 7.5 on the turf. Turf.
6, 1, 3, and 10. Plein air on top. Just looks logical off the last start. Was claimed out of that. Moves into the barn of Armando de la Cerda. Was in a potent claiming barn last time with Angel Rodriguez, but de la Cerda does pretty well off the claim. And they essentially went through the 16 and 3L. I don't think moving into open 16 is that big a jump from that level. So in good form, Plein air on top. Fearless Princess in the 2nd spot, just seems to be in some good form. Number-wise, as compared to this group, Althera, the number 3 horse, a couple starts back, ran very well. They got ambitious class-wise last time, back to the proper level. And Miss World Venezuela, nice try last time on the front end, just got caught late. So the 8th at Gulfstream, 6, 1, 3, and 10. All right, we'll head to a break. When we come back, it is a big day at Sunland today with that Sunland Derby. We'll be joined by Tom Dawson from Sunland Park right after this. Stay tuned.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Sign up today for Capital OTB's handicapping series and plan your trip to Las Vegas.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Sunday morning. And again, a big day at Sunland Park on Sunday afternoon. And we're happy to be joined now by Tom Dawson, the racing consultant out there at Sunland. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning.
Give us a little update for folks who will be playing this afternoon. What's your weather forecast look like?
Well, it's going to be dry, so the track will be fast. Could have a little breeze. We get spring winds down here, and they kicked up a little bit yesterday and could happen again, which means a headwind for those down the backstretch and a tailwind through the lane. So ever how you interpret that to affect the outcome of a horse race, could be as much as 25 miles an hour today.
Oh, okay. Let's jump right into it. Let's kind of work our way back and take a look at some of the stakes action, but let's start right out with the highlight. Sunland Derby, $800,000 up for grabs in a Grade 3, going a mile and an eighth. There are Kentucky Derby points up for grabs. Tom, we touched on this a little bit earlier in the show. Wow, what a nice field you guys have coming in for the Sunday afternoon feature. You have Todd Pletcher coming in with Prince Lucky. You have Steve Asmussen with a couple of runners in here. Dale Romans with a couple of runners. Our friends at West Point Thoroughbreds bring in 7 trumpets. And while we talk, I pulled up an allowance optional claimer from February 19th at Oaklawn. We're going to take a look at the number 5 here, New York Central. Get it done for Steve Asmussen and Windstar. I thought this race was kind of interesting. Asmussen, of course, has won the Sunland Derby a couple of times in the past, last year with Hentz and with Daddy Knows Best back in 2012. So New York Central may be a little bit interesting to me. Mike, my co-host earlier, was talking about a couple of the Southern California horses, All Out, Blitz, and Peace, as being intriguing. What are your thoughts on the Sunland Derby?
Well, I'm with you on New York Central being a key to this race. We spotted him immediately out of that allowance race. In fact, at one point, the top 3 finishers were all coming, but we lost Transgress from Wayne Lucas. But we still have the first, third, and fifth horses out of that race. And New York Central that was kind of his breakthrough race, I think, living up to his pedigree, his $750,000 purchase price. And looked like he finally put it all together going 2 turns. And I think he's pretty highly regarded by the stable. So I think we should take him seriously. Another horse out of that race whose numbers don't measure up, his form doesn't look near as good, but boy, did he have a ton of trouble, is the horse that finished 5th, Shane Zane. You go back and look at that race, and he was coming off a maiden race where he led virtually all the way, broke dead last, and he was 5 lengths behind the next to last horse when they went to the first turn. Rolled up and made a mid-move and got within 4 lengths of the lead, and then, as you'd expect, flattened out. But it was a much better than looked effort. Again, I don't know if he's got the quality to be a field like this, but he sure had a ton of trouble.
Yeah, and you just have to respect that off of a race like that, Doug O'Neill decides to bring him in.
And we really never heard much from Doug until the very end. It was like 3 or 4 days before entries that he said, "I think I'm going to bring that horse." You know, it was like maybe the horse showed him something in training that convinced him he should come. But again, Shane Zane really on the outside looking in here. I think maybe talent-wise, he'd have to improve quite a bit by my numbers.
Tom.
I think one of the interesting horses, Seth, there's two that I kind of want to bring to light. One is the 5-horse Peace. So Peace comes off a 4th in the San Felipe. Visually, I was very unimpressed. I didn't like the race at all. Then I got the Thorograph numbers, and I look at it, and I see that, you know, he had a pretty decent number. He ran a 5 in the race. So I go back and look at it again and realize that he got way behind. He was last in the field at one point. And he did make a move to get in contention, and you have to remember the 2 in front of him, or 2 of the 3 in front of him, were arguably the 2 best 3-year-olds in the country, Bolt Doro and McKenzie. So, you know, and Kentucky only beat him a half length. So I took another look at Peace, and understanding that Dick Mandela doesn't travel with 3-year-olds a lot. So I'm going to give him some healthy respect today. And the other one is Prince Lucky. You know, here's a horse that Todd Pletcher just picked up from Larry Jones not that long ago. He won a race called the Pennsylvania Nursery. And you know who else won that race, of course, on his way to the Kentucky Derby? Smarty Jones. The numbers on this horse as a 2-year-old are better than anything in the field. He had one bad race this year. He had one race this year, and it was the Lecomte, and it was not a good race. However, he appears to be training very forwardly, and I think I'm going to give him a shot in here.
Tom, Mike here. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. I'm fully on board with you with Peace, by the way. That was the horse that I gave out right before you came on, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the local horse, Runaway Ghost. Finished a nice second to Re-Ride, and Re-Ride looks to go to the UAE Derby next week. So,
Runaway Ghost is legit. You know, he won a stake at Golden Gate by 7 last year. It kind of got tossed into the mill with the previous outfit he was with in the Grade 1 Los Al Futurity. But he's done really nothing wrong for Todd Fincher, who is, by the way, an excellent local trainer. And Todd is very happy with the 11 post, going a mile and an eighth. You got plenty of room to lighten out down the stretch and find your spot. And he's very happy with that. He believes this horse is maturing all the time and will run a big race. And yeah, how good is Re-Ride? We don't know. We don't know. I was a little surprised he was that tenacious in the Mind That Bird, but Runaway Ghost will be forwardly placed, and he is definitely one of the contenders. He's not just a local throw-in.
Yeah, really interesting and fun edition of the Sunland Derby this afternoon. Let's go a little earlier on the card. Not as competitive, the Sunland Park Oaks, couple of $100,000 up for grabs for the 3-year-old fillies going a mile and a 16th. But just wanted to alert people to kind of tune this one in, because this is a nice 3-year-old filly you have. It's been based down there this winter. 4 to 5 on the morning line, Blamed. We're going to go back and watch the Island Fashion from February 25th. She's on the front end and just opens up as they come down the lane. And she, in this field of 5 this afternoon, clearly looks like has this field over a barrel. Blamed, probably best today.
Oh, yeah, I sure think so. Her numbers are the best. She's looked the best. You know, there were 2 or 3 fillies from different places we thought were going to come take her on, and in the end, almost nobody did. Steve Asmussen sent Charge back from Houston, who's won 2 of her 3, but she'd have to move forward in order to threaten Blame, who they like to say, well, she hasn't been hooked on the front end yet. Well, that's because nothing's been as fast as she's been. Her race 1 back of the last race, she went very fast early and still drew away at the finish. she went 21-3, 43-4, and then was just drawn off at the end. So I think she's super talented, and I don't see anything beating her in here.
Yeah, again, just want to alert people to kind of tune that one in. All right, couple ideas on the stakes card, the undercard. The Harry Henson for Phillies and Mayors. They're going to go a mile. That'll be race number 8 on Sunday afternoon. This is a nice little field in here. Adore comes in for Steve Asmussen. Fabian comes in for Bob Baffert. John Sadler brings in Shenandoah Queen. Local favorite, perhaps, KP Wildcat. I think in these kind of stakes races, you always have to pay attention to the locals who may offer a little bit of value as well. What are your thoughts on the Henson?
KP Wildcat is very legit. She's won 10 out of 15 starts in her life, 5 for 7 here at Sunland. She can run with just about anybody, and she's in good form right now. She can handle the mile. That's not been a problem for her at all. In fact, she's 4 for 4 at the distance. So she is a legitimate player in here. I'm kind of interested in Baffert's filly, Fabian, for a couple of reasons. She was good enough to be the champion Florida-bred 3-year-old filly last year. And was second in a Grade 1 up at Saratoga, the test. Didn't run a jump in the La Brea, and he backed off of her for a while, and then he's been drilling the work center lately. Normally, Baffert has horses all over the card, but this year, for various circumstances, he doesn't have any in the Derby and none in the Oaks. Now, he's got one in the undercard. You would think, I would have thought he might have said, well, the heck with it. We'll find another place for her. I'm not going to, send a horse over there for a $100,000 raise. But he did, and the owners are coming. I think they're cracking today. They're looking to win a race with this filly. So I don't think she's here for the practice. And I think she's shown herself to be good enough, not lay over it by any means, but good enough to beat a field like this. And you're witnessing the first part of the Martin Garcia-Bob Baffert reunion that's taking place in California since Garcia moved his tack back out there.
I like it. Let's move a little bit later on the card, the 9th race, the Bill Thomas Memorial, $100,000 up for grabs, 6.5 furlongs. I have liked Counterforce throughout the career. He comes in for Winchell Thoroughbreds and Steve Asmussen. But I'll tell you, Tom, as I looked at the race, at 5-1 on the morning line, if that holds up, blame it on the law. The number 6 from John Sadler, coming in from Southern California. The question mark is the layoff. Hasn't been seen since Del Mar. So that, to me, is the question mark. But if the morning line holds up, I think you get paid to take the shot. So blame it on the law. A little bit interesting. What did you think in the Thomas Memorial?
Yeah, I think you definitely have to look at him. Again, Sadler's shipping that horse over here. Got a plane ride from California. You don't do that generally to just let a horse get a race they need. So I think they're looking to win. This is a 5-year-old stud, and I don't believe he's won a stakes race. And I think that's what they'd like to do with him for his future. So I definitely think he's solid. And with Counterforce, I'm really interested in him. His pattern is kind of unusual, though. Last time he was sharp, he ran a 2 on the third back. Prior to that, he's a 5. He was 2, then 5, 2. It's like he's been every other race. And if that's the case, then I couldn't like him as much today because he'd be due to get closer to that 4 or 5. So the local horses, here's one with a real shot, the 11, Concord Fast. He's run 3 2s in a row here, and he is, to me, definitely the best of the locals. I love the outside draw. Rye Eichelberry leading Ogle Rider. I think this horse has a real chance.
Very good. And so again, a nice card supporting the Sunland Derby for Sunday afternoon. Tom, we certainly appreciate the thoughts. Before we went on the air, we were talking with you a little bit, and you said earlier in the career you were producing racing for ESPN. I guess that was in the Randy Moss, Janine Edwards days?
Well, let's see. Janine was a rookie when she started with us. And I knew Randy from from a newspaper, from Oaklawn, and got him involved. And he became I think the best analyst,
Yeah.
racing analyst on TV. So we did a lot of races all over the country, including our fair share at lovely Saratoga.
Yeah, and we broadcast live from the backstretch at Saratoga every day during the meetup there. And when Travers rolls around, we'll have Randy, and he usually brings Jerry Bailey over as well. And we always have a great segment with them. I agree, he's the best guy on TV, and I think that was recognized by the NFL Network as he's working over there now too.
Right. Yeah, he's a double. I call him a double dipper. You know, not many guys can get away with that.
Yeah,
but he's got contracts with 2 different networks, so we're real proud of him.
And I will say, I miss Janine. She doing horse racing.
Yeah, you know, she was a contract player with Aspen, and when they kind of backed out of horse racing, it limited her opportunities in that area. You know, she did a lot of other reporting for them, and of course now she's retired from TV altogether. But she was a great presence to have on the shows, and a real hard worker. Boy, she made herself into a good reporter.
Yeah, you could tell they were always very well prepared. Tom, again, appreciate the visit, the conversation, and the thoughts on the racing this afternoon. Good luck to you and everybody out at Sunland today.
Very good, Seth. Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Tom Dawson from Sunland Park. Again, a nice card for Sunland Derby Day. Sunland Derby scheduled to go off our time about 7:15.
Right, 7:15. So definitely a terrific day. Wide open race. I'm glad that he likes the same horse that I like at 12 to 1.
Yeah.
But
does that bode well for the odds? Maybe.
I know it's going to be one of those situations where, like the Oakland horse I liked on Friday, it was 10 to 1 morning line, goes off as the favorite. You know, somehow you can always find it.
Yeah, that's part of the game. But it sometimes it works out the other way for us as well. Just to give you a little update, I referred to the leaderboard that came out last night after the Louisiana Derby. The Louisiana Derby knocked Noble Indy up to number 1 on the points. Kentucky Derby points. He's at 110 right now. Bolt d'Oro, Enticed, Bravazzo, and Promises Fulfilled. Top 5, Magnamoon, number 6. Those horses I would say the cutoff for a sure thing is probably maybe 30 points. So there are 12 horses now, My Boy Jack with 32, that you would think probably in. With 30 points is Flame Away. 30 got you in last year, but that would be bubble to me, 30 points. And then horses below that still are probably looking. Forenzy Fire has 29. Free Drop Billy has 24. Snapper Sinclair and Combatant 22. Blended Citizen 22. Blended Citizen, I wonder what they'll do with them, because to me, he's not a dirt horse.
Nah. I'm also interested to see how Free Drop Billy does off that performance last time. It really was less than par, so we'll see what he does. I'm interested to see Enticed, because I thought he ran a terrific race down at Aqueduct. And I know he's going to go in the woods. So.
And I played all others in that last Kentucky Derby future pool, and was amazed when I took a look after that. Enticed wasn't on. So I got Enticed as part of my all others, which I was happy with from that.
And interesting note is that pool 3, Justify went off as the favorite as far as besides all others. He has no points right now.
Yeah, I was about to say the horse that is not on this list, Justified. So it's an all or nothing situation.
He is the favorite in the pool, and rightfully so. He's been terrific in his first 2, but he has no points.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a serious situation where you have to really pick where you go, because if you don't run 1-2, you're really in a bad shape. So. We'll see what happens.
Very interesting over the next 2 or 3 weeks. Again, next week we will be live from Gulfstream Park to cover the Florida Derby. We'll see if Audible can stamp himself and validate what we've seen, because so far some of these one-hit wonders this year have not come back and been able to repeat, like a horse like Bravazzo yesterday. So we'll see how that plays out next week.
I still do think, though, Audible's race was the most impressive.
Oh, there's no
battle-wise, the San Felipe was the best.
If he runs big again next week, you would think, I would say maybe even over the 2 Southern California horses, he would take favoritism.
I agree. Energy-wise, I've yet to see a horse finish up like that. I mean, he finished full of energy, clearing everybody and running a serious time.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
We'll have it all next week, as we are live from Gulfstream Park Friday and Saturday. I fly out. You and Sully will be filling in on the weekday afternoons this week.
Yeah.
So,
hold down the fort, as you say.
Yeah, there you go. Giving out some winners, hopefully, so everybody can load up for that Florida Derby card next Saturday. You want to hit on some of the other promos?
Yeah, promos. We're going to have our 1% bonus on Wednesday. Our Florida bonus, as we normally do on Wednesdays, wager $200 or more on Tampa Bay Gulfstream multiples and exotics and get 1% bonus back. And again, you must be enrolled in Player Rewards. You can learn more at capitalotb.com or call our customer service department. Also, the Bounty Bet's back. It's actually been off for a couple weeks.
What is the
11:56.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So again, I say this all the time. Just play the pick 4 at Aqueduct, which is going to be this upcoming Friday. And you never know, even if it comes up short as far as payouts go, you're playing that pool. Obviously, whatever it pays wins, but you're also getting part of the Bounty Bet pool. So you don't know how many people are involved in it. You're playing just against the Capital OTB patrons. So it can be hit. $1,156 is the bounty right now. If you're the only one to hit it, you get all $1,156. If 2 or more people hit it, you split 25%, and then 75% is carried over. Definitely take advantage of it. It's definitely one of our fun promotions here at Capital OTB. And then also we'll have a knockout challenge on Saturday to go along with Dubai Day and Florida Derby Day.
Yeah, that's
Big event, super Saturday.
Yeah, World Cup next Saturday too.
And the clubhouse will open early, 9 a.m. We're going to also have a breakfast menu with Legends Field here as well. So take advantage of the early morning all the way through the entire day.
And on one of our other TV screens here in the studio, they're showing the Gulfstream signal, and it reminded me, I think they announced it yesterday. That was the first I'd heard of it. Mandatory payout will be Florida Derby Day. Florida Derby Day.
The cherry on top to a perfect day. So.
Yeah, I think the game plan probably would normally have been Sunday because they know they're going to get great handle on Florida Derby Day anyway. But Sunday is Easter Sunday, so they would lose the entire.
They lose all New York patrons. So, it's
and
the right
kudos
move
to them for doing it. I mean, it's probably business-wise a great move for them because they get more money from the New York. But also, it's not really fair to it happened a few years ago, and it's not really fair to the New York bettors who have been playing into that bet all along that they don't get the shot on the mandatory day. So it'll be next Saturday, mandatory if it holds up. It'll be fun to see what gets bet into it, certainly.
Yeah, they reached almost 20 million last time. We'll see if we can go higher.
It'll be fun. All right, we'll wrap things up. This edition of Racing Across America. Seth Merrow and Mike Callahan. I'll be back in a couple hours or so with OTB Live for a Sunday afternoon. Stay tuned. We'll see you in a couple hours.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.